Hi, what's up people? This is SiTHFuRioN, and right now we're going to be checking out a new Vikings video. This is called 5 Most Legendary Vikings and Their Stories. Now, this one's a bit different because this isn't on like the History channel or anything else. Now, this is from a YouTube channel called Unknown5. He does like top 5 topic kind of videos on different subjects and stuff. Really interesting. There's a link in the description below if you guys want to go and check it out. But what I'm going to do, because this is his video and I'm like, I feel a bit weird about using like other YouTubers' content, mainly because he's put in all the work. You know, he's done all the research on these characters and their stories. He's wrote the scripts. He's put in all the artwork to create videos and everything. This is his video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this video and I'm only going to show my reactions to anyone in this top 5 that I know of. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Rollo's going to be in it. I'm pretty sure Ivar's going to be in it. I'm not too sure if Ragnar's going to be in it, because Ragnar was always more, he's more of a myth. You know, it's like if you was a great Viking, then it means you're the son of Ragnar or something. You know, there's no real concrete proof that Ragnar was even a real person. It was just stories and the sagas and stuff. People like Rollo and Ivar were actually real people. So, like I said, I think we would definitely see Rollo in this list. I think we would definitely see Ivar in this list, because he's apparently the most savage, notorious, evil fucking Viking of them all. But this video is going to be edited. I'm only going to show my reactions to the Vikings that I know of that is relevant to the TV show Vikings, basically. Anyone else, if you want to know, there's a link in the description below to the full video. Go subscribe to Unknown5. He's got some cool videos, man. Alright, so let's do this, man.
For hundreds of years, the sight of a Viking longship on the horizon would strike terror into the hearts of those in its path, and simply living by the coast became a risky lifestyle due to the ever-present danger of Viking raiders descending on your home to take everything you own, along with your very life. Yet while Vikings are often depicted as bloodthirsty, violent pirates, they were also skilled warriors, craftsmen and explorers who were the first Europeans to discover large parts of the world which had until then been unexplored. The blending of myth and fact which surrounds the Viking era has created legendary characters whose exploits terrified their victims, but left a lasting legacy which has shaped the modern world. Here are my choices for 5 of the most legendary Vikings and the true stories behind them. Perhaps weaken the King of England just enough that he too would later perish in the famous Battle of Hastings at the hands of William the Conqueror, allowing William to seize the English throne and changing the course of history forever.
I just had the pause then, right? He said William the Conqueror. Wasn't he like a some like relative of Rollo? I'm sure I read it somewhere that William the Conqueror was some ancestor of Rollo. I'm sure of it.
Number 4. Rollo.
Rollo!
Of the countless thousands of Viking warriors who raided European shores, just a handful are remembered by name today, and even fewer left behind a lasting legacy. Yet Rollo would rise from being just another Viking raider to forging a powerful duchy and establishing a dynasty which would see his descendants become kings. His blood still running through the veins of many of the European monarchs to this day.
What?
Little is known about the man's origins, and it's assumed that he was a minor noble in his native land, being born in either Denmark or Norway. In the sagas he is given the byname the Walker, most probably due to his immense size, which made finding a horse strong enough to carry him a difficult task, resulting in him being forced to travel on foot. Yet his imposing size and fierce presence in battle would help him earn the respect of his men and the dread of his enemies.
So he's more like a
After a mysterious
giant
early life, Rollo left Scandinavia to participate in raids on England, Scotland and France, hungry to amass riches and power, yet it was the wealthy city of Paris that would become the focus of his attention. In 885, he participated in the Viking siege of Paris, sailing up the River Seine with a force that contained hundreds of ships and tens of thousands of men. After surrounding the city, tribute was demanded from the trapped Franks. However, despite being massively outnumbered, the Franks refused. The Vikings launched a furious series of attacks on the city that lasted for days. However, despite siege engines being used, the mighty walls of Paris held. Perhaps frustrated by the lack of progress, many of the Vikings abandoned the main force and decided to head further upriver, searching for easier prey. However, Rollo stayed behind with his men to continue the siege for several months more, until he was finally forced to retreat when the Frankish king Charles the Fat arrived with his imperial army. Yet, after having a taste of the riches France had to offer, Rollo refused to leave and would continue raiding French settlements and towns. The new Frankish king, Charles the Simple, encountered Rollo during another siege. However, despite his name, perhaps he was wise enough to recognize the future threat to his lands that these Northmen presented. Despite defeating Rollo in battle, he was impressed by his leadership as well as the ferocity of the warriors he led, and so decided that Rollo might make for a valuable ally instead of a bitter enemy. The king offered Rollo a great swathe of land to the north of Paris in exchange for ending his raids, swearing fealty to him, and protecting his kingdom against the future Viking raids from his people that were sure to come. Rollo agreed, and his duchy was given the name Normandy, meaning Northman's land.
Okay.
The two men's agreement was sealed by Rollo agreeing to be baptized a Christian and taking the king's daughter as his wife, despite her being perhaps as young as 5 years old at the time.
What?
Rollo would prove to be a successful...
5 years old. 5 years old. They missed that out on the show. Imagine if they did that on the show, had like a little 5-year-old girl that Rollo married. Oh my god. That's fucked up. I'm sorry, I just had to pause that as soon as you said 5 years old. What the fuck, Rollo? But like, I'm thinking like, they say Rollo, I automatically think Rollo from the show. What the fuck?
Ruler, cementing control over his new lands and laying the foundations for the Duchy of Normandy to become one of France's most powerful regions. His descendants and subjects would become known as the Normans, a people with a formidable reputation who would eventually conquer much of southern Italy and even parts of North Africa and the Middle East. Wow. Yet perhaps his most famous relative would be his great-great-great-grandson, William the Conqueror, who would lead a successful invasion of England in 1066 and become king after victory at the Battle of Hastings. It would be through William that Rollo would become a distant ancestor of virtually all modern European monarchies today, as well as many of the claimants to thrones which have long since been abolished. Rollo finally died in 930 AD, and despite having been baptized a Christian, he is said to have died a pagan, with one historian claiming that as he sensed his death was close, he went mad and beheaded 100 Christian prisoners in a final defiant act committed to honor the Viking gods.
Hold on. Oh man. Okay, first and foremost, the fact that the British royal family is linked to Rollo, I think is completely mind fucking blowing. The fuck? That's actually really cool. Wow. But just then, right, what he was saying about how like in the last days of his life, knowing that death was coming, he just fucking just beheaded a shitload of Christians. Like, I don't know. I could see Rollo from the TV show, like, on the verge of death, thinking, shit, have I fucked up? Just fucking going, like, in a crazy bear-like rage and just fucking swinging axes and chopping heads off. Like, I could actually see that. Then again, imagine if they do it on the show. Like, Rollo, like, his time's kind of come to an end. He's too old now to go out raiding. Like, his children are kind of old enough to go out and do stuff. And just like one of his last scenes is him with 2 axes just fucking chopping heads off. Oh man, if they do that, that would be fucking cool as fuck. Oh shit. I tell you what would be interesting though, right? If some of these Vikings that I've never heard of, that are on this list, actually starts to pop up in future seasons of Vikings. You know what I mean? You never know. You never know. Okay, number 2.
Number 2, Ragnar Lothbrok.
Ooh.
The tales associated with the legendary Norse hero Ragnar Lothbrok vary from being the son of kings, raider of powerful Christian kingdoms, husband to famous shield maidens, looter of Paris, father of famous Viking warlords such as Ivar the Boneless, and even the descendant of Odin, the Norse god of war. Yet are the accounts of Ragnar based upon the exploits of a real man, an amalgamation of several different warriors, or just a made-up myth designed to inspire? According to legend, Ragnar was born the son of Sigurd Ring, who was the king of both Sweden and Denmark, and obtained the byname Lothbrok, which means hairy breeches, due to the animal skin trousers he supposedly wore. Although he is said to have claimed descent from Odin, stories of a ferocious Viking warrior wreaking havoc across 9th century Europe are widespread amongst several different sources, and his name is most closely linked with a series of merciless raids against France and England, which would have made him a wealthy and powerful man. He favoured attacking lightly guarded monasteries, which provided easy but rich pickings, as well as targeting Christians while they were occupied with religious celebrations.
Wow.
Yet he also proved himself to be a formidable warrior and leader, attacking and defeating powerful armies and well-fortified towns, with perhaps his most legendary deed being the capture of Paris in 845. With a fleet of longships, he sailed up the River Seine, looting and plundering as he went, before finally reaching the fabled city of Paris, in the beating heart of France. The French king Charles the Bald, grandson of the mighty Charlemagne, was defeated by Ragnar and Paris fell, with the humiliated king forced to hand over an eye-watering £7,000 of silver to Ragnar in exchange for leaving. Yet, despite amassing such unbelievable levels of wealth, Ragnar's raids against European shorelines continued, earning him powerful enemies. Eventually his luck would run out, and after being shipwrecked on the English coast during a storm, he was captured in Northumbria by King Aelle and executed in a manner which sealed his legendary status. Furious at the raids Ragnar had carried out in his lands, King Aelle dreamt up the most painful and humiliating death he could think of, punishing the upstart Viking by having him thrown into a pit of vipers, the fall breaking his bones and leaving him to be slowly bitten and poisoned to death by the vicious snakes. According to the Icelandic legends, Ragnar faced death with pride, pleased that he would soon be entering the gates of Valhalla, before issuing a final prophetic warning of the fate that awaited King Aelle and England when the news of his death reached his sons. How the little piglets would grunt if they knew how the old boar suffered, confidently predicting the bloody vengeance his sons would visit upon Aelle and the kingdoms of England. It's through his sons that Ragnar's legacy would continue, fathering many men who became famous warriors in their own right, including Bjorn Ironside, who would explore and raid the Mediterranean, and the feared Ivar the Boneless, who along with his brothers would lead the great heathen army across the North Sea to avenge Ragnar, conquering large sections of England and establishing the Danelaw, a portion of northern England that was governed by the laws of the Danes and would be settled by large numbers of Vikings. Whether Ragnar was a real man, a merging of multiple characters, or simply a myth, his name still echoes through the ages, having become a hero amongst his own people, but a devil amongst those whose suffering he caused.
Oh man, am I the only one who got a bit emotional when he was talking about the death of Ragnar and the whole thing about how like the little piggies will squeal when they hear how the old boar suffered, and all like, am I the only one? Cause the fuck, man, it just goes to show how much of a great job Travis did with that character. You know what I mean? And it just kind of like, okay, like even though it's a show, we're watching it, it's scripted and everything, to kind of know that this was real, like Ivar avenged Ragnar's death, like with the heathen army, they attacked England, and we're seeing it now in the show, and seeing it from like an actual historical kind of standpoint, telling the story, it just makes it like, I'm trying to find the right words, it's like it adds so much weight and volume to the actual show. You see what I mean? It's like, yeah, Game of Thrones is a great show. Game of Thrones is probably one of the greatest TV shows of all time. But it's fantasy. It's a made-up story that, in a way, Game of Thrones is slightly based on real history of kings fighting over each other for a throne and this and that. It's fantasy. This is real. Like, this is... Vikings is based on actual historical things, and this is why I think this show is better. I really do. I have fallen in love with this fucking show so fucking much. You know what I mean? It has so much weight to it. The actors have all done a tremendous job as well. It's just... Oh my god, I love this shit. I love this show. Right, next up, number 1. Like, I was thinking like maybe Beyond Ironside could be in it, but I think Ivar. I think Ivar is probably the most notorious, famous Viking of them all. You know what I mean? If I'm wrong, but I reckon it's Ivar.
Number 1, Ivar the Boneless. An intriguing mixture of mystery and incredible brutality makes Ivar the Boneless perhaps the most famous Viking of all time, with the man himself becoming legendary for his cunning and cruelty. His conquests would spread fear, terror and destruction across the British Isles as he executed a bloody plan of revenge that would see entire swathes of the country fall under his control, countless thousands perish in battle, and even great kings mercilessly put to incredibly savage deaths at his hands. There are several theories regarding how Ivar obtained his famous nickname, with the most popular being that he suffered from some form of bone disease that made him prone to breaks and fractures, leaving him unable to walk. However, the name could have been given to him because of his flexibility in combat, or simply because he was impotent. There have even been theories that the name could have been a mistranslation from Ivar the Despicable to Boneless, as the two words in Latin are very similar. Yet, if he did suffer from some kind of disability, it did not prevent him from becoming an intimidating warrior who inspired the army under his command to achieve great victories. In 865, Ivar and his brothers assembled what became known as the Great Heathen Army, an unprecedented gathering of Viking warriors from all over Scandinavia, which possibly numbered in the tens of thousands. According to legend, the army was put together to exact revenge on the English king of Northumbria, who supposedly executed Ivar's father, the famous Ragnar Lothbrok, by having him thrown into a pit of snakes. However, whether or not this is true is unknown. At this time, Northumbria was embroiled in a civil war, a conflict which Ivar and the Norse would have been well aware of, and so it's possible that the invasion of England was carried out to simply take advantage of this weakness. Yet the sheer size and scale of the invasion does suggest that it was motivated by personal reasons, rather than just a desire for land and wealth.
Wow.
Regardless of its intention, the most destructive and violent invasion of England had begun. Ivar's army quickly captured the Northumbrian capital of York, defeated the English army, and captured King Aelle, the man who was responsible for his father's death. For such a crime against his family, only the most gruesome and painful revenge would do, and Ivar is thought to have had Aelle killed using the Blood Eagle, a terrifying Viking method of execution which involved cutting the victim's back open, breaking the rib bones one by one with an axe, before pulling out the lungs to form a gory wing-like shape draped across the back. Some sources even suggest that at this point the victim might still be alive and would be forced to endure the unbelievable agony of having salt rubbed into the giant open wound before they finally died. Whether or not this is true remains debated, but what is known is that Ivar carved a bloody path across England, displaying not only a genius-like understanding of battle tactics and strategy, but also a disturbingly brutal streak in the treatment of his enemies, perhaps using such excessive cruelty as an extension of his battle strategy, the fear accompanying his name often forcing potential enemies to surrender without a fight. In one such example of this excessive level of violence, after taking the kingdom of East Anglia, the former King Edmund was beaten with clubs, tied to a tree, and shot full of arrows, before being beheaded and having his lifeless head thrown unceremoniously into a nearby ditch, all because he refused to become a vassal and renounce his faith.
Wow.
The conquests and raids carried out by Ivar continued all over England, Ireland, and Scotland, where monasteries and towns were destroyed, civilians slaughtered, and settlements pillaged on an unbelievable scale, with the vast amounts of plunder and slaves taken making their way back to Ivar's base of operations in Dublin, making him extraordinarily rich in the process. The circumstances of Ivar's death are disputed, but it's thought that he lived to a surprisingly old age before finally succumbing to a non-violent death, unlike the thousands of unfortunate people who died horribly as a result of his invasion. The people of the British Isles breathing a collective sigh of relief as Ivar the Boneless finally passed from this world. So those are my choices for 5 of the most legendary Vikings and the true stories behind them. Let me know your thoughts and which other interesting Vikings you would have mentioned in the list in the comments below. And I'll see you again soon.
Right, Unknown 5, go check him out, go subscribe. I'll post a link in the description below to this video. Go and watch it and comment, say SiTHFuRioN sent me. Go check this guy out, man. I think it would be kind of interesting to see if, like, going into like season 6, season 7, and God knows how many other seasons, if some of these other Vikings could turn up. Like, if they were that big that they could make his top 5, you might never know. They might pop up in the future, you know what I mean? And if that is the case, then this might be a bit spoilerish, but when you're dealing with history, it is what it is, man. You gotta just enjoy the show and just see where it goes, man. You never know. They could flip things here and there and make it a bit more interesting, but like I said, what I love about this show is that it is based on actual historical things, and it does add a lot more weight to it, you know. I think that is the main thing. Like, when people talk about, oh, Vikings is such a great show, I think that is a key element to it, is the fact that what we see, the storylines kind of play out as they are, like, based on actual historical things. They have more weight, they have more gravitas, they have more balls, you know what I mean? That it actually means more than just, oh, we're telling this great story, and oh, look, there's dragons, and woo. I love Game of Thrones, but it's a fantasy story. This is real. This actually happened. There was a fucking heathen army that fucking came through and just wrecked shit in England and everything. You know what I mean? Like, the fuck? I remember, like, at the start of the year when the heathen army, like, first started to come up, someone left a comment, like, how does it feel to be English and seeing, like, your great ancestors get fucked up? And, like, I didn't comment on it, but it's like, okay, my father used to talk about how his parents and grandparents was from Ireland. So my father's side stems to Ireland, and apparently has been there for fucking hundreds of years. My family apparently didn't travel far. They always lived in Ireland. And I know, I read somewhere once that the Vikings apparently settled in Ireland. So maybe if I was to do like a fucking DNA swab or something and check my heritage, maybe my father's side might stem over Viking fucking way going back. So I know my father's side is from Ireland. My mother, her family line comes from Europe, France, and from what she said to me once, many years ago, that it's going into France and then it goes north. And that's all I know. I don't know, maybe I should fork out some money and do one of those DNA swabs and check my ancestry and whatever the word is. See where my ancestors go and where they fucking come from, and you might never know. Maybe the reason why I've got so much love for this is because it's a part of my heritage. Like, you never know. You might never know, man. Imagine if it turned out to be true. Like, I'm fucking Viking, like, the fuck. I've still got the hair for it though, even though you can't see it. It's all tucked up and everything. I mean, like, see what I'm saying? I'm kind of growing it out in parts, but still got it, man. But yeah, that was a real cool video, man. Real cool video. Like I said, go check him out. Go check out this video, give it a thumb up, and just comment, SiTHFuRioN sent me. That would be cool, man. But yeah, really fucking interesting. Like I said, like I knew Ivar was going to be in there. I knew Rollo was going to be in there. I weren't too sure about Ragnar because, like even he said, we're not 100% sure if Ragnar was an actual real person, a myth, or a compilation of real people. Like many of his great sons, Sigurd and Uber and Bjorn and fucking all of them, like you don't know, like they could have just been great, powerful, strong Vikings, and in the stories they just said, oh, they're the son of Ragnar. You know, Ragnar's this great myth, and Uber, great guy, so powerful, he's got to be the son of Ragnar. And like, if you see what I'm saying, like we don't know. Oh, I love this shit, man, I really do. But yeah, there was two that I've never heard of before, and it would be kind of interesting to see if they pop up in the show at some point, or they're mentioned or something, or they could just completely leave them out because it's like completely different time frames and stuff, like, or if they choose to continue on with the show, like what's going to happen. Like they can't just have Ivar and the heathen army attacking England all the time. Like, if there's anything we've learned from the show before, it's like they do stuff and then we jump forward. We have like a time jump. I don't know, like maybe by the end of season 6, Uber is married with a bunch of kids and everyone's kind of all grown up. Ivar is still kind of fixated on fucking attack. And everyone's kind of busy going off doing their own things and having all new characters coming up. Like, you never know. You know what I mean? It could happen. Going to like a whole new era of the Vikings. I don't know, man. But I am so fucking excited. I am so excited for this show to come back. Like I said, I reckon end of November. Well, not end of November, November time period. Just end of the year. I don't know if they're going to show all 20 episodes over the space of 20 weeks. That don't make sense to me. It makes more sense for them to show 10 and then show 10 in like the summer period, you know what I mean? Because like we're feeling it now, it's like it's been too long without season 5. It's been too long. It's like I think we're starting to get to like a kind of a pattern where we can go 5-6 months and then we need to see the show again. Like Game of Thrones. It feels like it has been years since the last season of Game of Thrones finished. Like most shows now, they show like an A season and then they show the B season. And I think Vikings will just do the same thing. They will show an A season at the end of the year, the B season around the summer period, and get into a routine. I can't see him showing all 20 back to back. I can't see him doing it. It would be great to have 20 weeks of a brand new episode every week. Fucking hell yeah. But then you got to think about when it finishes. You've got like God knows how many months until it comes back again. It's too long. It's too much of a time gap. So I think they'll break it up. You know what I mean? But yeah, I fucking love this, man. Yeah, give this video a thumb up if you like it. Comment down below, let me know what you think. And subscribe if you haven't already, man. Alright? I've been SiTHFuRion. I'll catch you in the next one, man.